Time to go inside Beaver Dam High School athletics and activities as we bring in the big cheese, Ryan Gerber from Beaver Dam High School. Ryan, we were gone for the holidays for a few weeks, and we came back last week for our hopefully it's weekly updates for the rest of the school year, and people missed us. At least they missed you. Is that what I heard?
I'm not sure if they miss me. They love their content. I'm just so happy to know that people are listening and the time that we take to record this every week, like, people appreciate it. So we're happy to do it as long as people are happy to keep listening.
Always promote the positives going on at Beaver Dam High School, both in athletic competition, also in the arts, whether it be music, voice, band, or anything else that we're doing or on the stage. We will try to hit on it here, Ryan. And I guess let's start with girls hockey because I remember Coach Pogorelic played something for his team early. You said buy stock in Beaver Dam girls hockey, and he said, you put a little pressure on them, and the girls have come through here getting it going, and they're on the verge. They're perfect in the Badger Conference. Thursday night, Rock County coming to town. They could clinch or win it outright tomorrow night.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this team started 1-4 through the first 5 games. So, I made those comments, and I know Coach Pogorelic played that for the team, and they had a discussion about, expectations. This is a program that a few years ago hadn't won a game, couldn't even score goals consistently. And now these big expectations are put on them, and not just for me, but I think that's the understanding in and around that program. So I think that's natural and healthy for any coach to address expectations. I think that's good. And for our kids, keep in mind, whether we're talking hockey or really anything, it's okay to have high expectations. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to want more. And I think that's something that, went away during COVID a little bit. And as a society, we need to start, pushing for better in everything we do and reaching for the sky there. So, they addressed it. And since that 1-4 start, they've been on a tear. And like you said, they have an opportunity to get a piece or an outright part of that conference title, and that's awesome. I would love to have to order another banner for the Family Center, but I don't want to jinx us. They've got some big games coming up. They've got 2 big conference games back to back with Beloit and Cap City coming up, and then to finish off with Stoughton. So we got to take care of business. But if we keep playing the way we are, I like our chances.
Only 2 losses for Beaver Dam since that 1-4 start were to the number 1 and number 2 ranked team in the state of Wisconsin, Bay Area and CW Storm.
Well, and a big part of that is Brenna Rhodes, the freshman who was named Wisconsin Prep Hockey Player of the Week. I know this team has been highlighted, but it's not just her, and she's a great player, but it really takes a team in hockey. So they've gotten contributions from a number of different players, and it's not just their forwards. They're getting contributions from everybody. So every time I look at the box scores, it seems like there's somebody else putting up a goal. I know Brooks Dracota had her first career assist the other night. So this team is getting better together, and that just bodes well, not only for this year, but going forward. I believe they have a pretty big class coming in again next year. So this coaching staff's doing an excellent job developing and putting these girls in position to have success, and then the girls are going out and executing.
I think it's good teams, they haven't had their A game in some of these games during this streak here, but they found ways to get victories. And that shows the sign of a good squad. Where maybe if you're battling through a few injuries or illness, or just maybe things aren't falling your way, finding ways to get it done and putting it in the W column. And Mike and his staff have gotten his team to do that.
The reality with coaching is your kids, especially at the high school level, you're not going to have your A game all the time. In fact, you're not going to have your A game a lot of the time. The question is, for a coach, can you get your kids peaking at the right time? Can you start to bring that A game when it matters most? We have on this schedule, I'm just looking at 5 more regular season games before the postseason. So the question is, can these girls peak at the right time? Can they bring their A game? If they run the table, they'll largely have a bye that first round, which is good. It gets girls healthy, but sometimes that layoff can also work the other way. So again, this team, can they get their peak going at the right time? And they've got the scores to do it. Again, Brenna Rhodes, I've already mentioned. Addie Damon's had a lot of opportunities to score this year. Emerson Damon, who was the leading scorer off of last year's team, is a sophomore. She's still on the team. And then last night, we saw glimpses, and I've mentioned a few times, Lil Mansueto with some opportunities. Again, they have four established scorers on this team, and then you look at some of the others. I know Addie Smeedema had a nice breakaway shot at a one-timer last night. That, again, there are more individuals that are starting to step up, but can they peak at the right time? And the goals are there, the expectations are there. If you haven't bought in yet to this team, there's still opportunities to do that. But again, high expectations around this program. The only thing I'd like to guess I see them to do differently is to start a little faster. Last night it was 1-1 early. Just start a little faster because it makes it easier on us fans.
That's exactly it. In Rock County, it's senior night on Thursday night. Rock County is coming to town, the defending Badger Conference champs. And then Tuesday, Cap Cities will be here. Cap City will be here. And Tuesday night's game will be on ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV. And tomorrow night's game will be a Daily Dodge TV exclusive. So get out and back the girls and watch them hopefully close out the season on a high note, Ryan. Boys hockey, we talk about it every week, continue to grow. Physical matchup last night to Oregon. They played the early game. The 5:00 start came up short 5-1, but there's still a feisty squad that's playing hard every night.
Yeah, that was a tough matchup, and I really believe that this little series with Oregon has been a great rivalry over the last couple of years. We've talked a lot about rivalries in the past, you and I, and to me, a rivalry has to be something where there are stakes, where there's something on the line, and largely that has to be a conference game, or if it's a team that you're going to see in the playoffs where you're constantly running into them, and one of those two teams is going to move on. So there has to be stakes on this. Over the last 3 years, this was the sixth time we've played Oregon. And last year, the Beavers swept Oregon to win a conference title outright, which was a huge deal. The year before, they split in the regular season, and Oregon knocked us out of the playoffs. So there's been some big games between them, and there's a little bit of animosity and a little bit of chippiness that's there, and that's okay. It's hockey. This is a contact sport. But even with that being said, it was a very physical game last night. And you could see the difference. That team from Oregon, there are a lot of juniors and seniors. We're putting out, again, a lot of sophomores and freshmen. Not an excuse because these are second semester freshmen and sophomores. So, we got to raise our level. But certainly there was a difference in physicality there. And, that's just hockey. And unfortunately, Oregon was able to convert and have their way and get, put 5 up on the board. So we ended up dropping that game, but again, a lot of development. And the one thing I like, the question you always ask as a coach is, if the other team's throwing a punch, are we able to counterpunch? And I think we hung it in there. We showed back. We had some toughness. It just came down to Oregon last night was the better team.
Yeah, and Doug Kraft's squad busy down the home stretch here. I think they play on the road on Thursday, then they go to the Groundhog Friday and Saturday, then they're back at home on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is the fun and exciting parts of scheduling. That won't always work in our favor. But again, this year is all about development and growth. I don't think there's a lot of people outside of this community that would have had this team winning 7 games this year simply because of the lack of experience. And again, they've really put themselves in a position to potentially get to that 500 mark, which would be a great celebration on this year's team. I think everybody's realistic, and that's not to downplay anything. That's not to talk poorly about the team. It's just in this Badger Conference League with the teams we're playing and the teams that you're going to see in the non-conference, playing such an inexperienced team, you're up against it. So again, the fact that they've gotten to 7 wins, the fact that they have an opportunity to potentially get to even on the year says a lot about, yes, the coaching, but even more about the development and the commitment these kids are making.
So Ryan Gerber, Beaver Dam High School Athletics and Activities Director inside BDH Athletics and Activities today. Girls basketball in the hardwood. Rival Watertown was in town on Tuesday night, and they scrapped out a victory there. TJ Jelka's squad, continues to be right there in the mix, and they're going to be there down the stretch as they try to win a league title.
Yeah, and again, I texted Coach last night, but sometimes you just got to grind. Sometimes you got to play gritty and find ways to win. And that's not a bad thing either, because playoff games aren't going to come easy. You're not going to blow people out. So does your team know how to win close games? Certainly last night was a rivalry. I know the Beaver Dam girls basketball program has a consecutive win streak against Watertown that goes back a long ways. And frankly, that was in jeopardy. It was a 19-18 game at halftime with Watertown leading, and that hasn't happened in quite a while. Coach Julka's team was able to make some adjustments at halftime and certainly put up a bunch of points, winning 43-37. But again, the question you have to ask when you talk about postseason readiness, can you win close games? Can you rely on your scorers? And last night showed that. Taya Donaldson's been incredible for them again. They really lean on her to score. Shea Ashley's been a big part of this, and so is Emma Julka. But they're also getting scoring from other points on the team. And again, it's the development. It's the constant improvement. And it's not just the girls, but it's the staff as well. Again, I keep going back to it. I don't mean to beat a dead horse on this, but this staff is learning to work together. It's growing together. It's going through those situations. It's going through a halftime that maybe was a little bit more stressful than anticipated, and finding ways to win, finding ways to put the girls in position to have success.
Yeah, and they'll be active again the next few days as well, going to Brookfield Central Thursday night. That's an ESPN Beaver Dam radio-only broadcast for us right there. Then Saturday they go to Fort Atkinson, DDTV, and ESPN Beaver Dam. Same thing on. They got a tough matchup on Monday night. They go down to Rosendale to take on Laconia, who is the favorite to win their third straight state championship. So they're really going to be tested here the next week or so.
Well, and I should mention, you talked about Brookfield Central and kind of glazed over the Fort Atkinson game. Fort Atkinson's been playing a lot better ball recently. I know they hung in. They had a lead against Milton late a couple weeks ago. They've been playing people tough. So that's another program that's improved. And look, they're not going to just lay down and say, okay, we're going to concede the win. They're going to fight. They're on their home court. It's getting late in their season as well. So again, I know that it's easy to look at the Laconia game. I know it's easy to look at the Brook Central game. And I know that Fort Atkinson struggled the last number of years. But that team is going to give us a fight. And if our girls aren't prepared for an early Saturday game, which changes things too, right? Like normally you're playing at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night or Friday night. To change it up and play an earlier Saturday morning game, can we rebound from that? Can we adjust? And then can we counterpunch? Because you're going to get Fort Atkinson's best shot on Saturday.
So that's, I believe, a 1 o'clock start on Saturday, if I'm looking at my schedule correctly.
Yes.
Varsity, and then again on Daily Dodge TV and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. But it's a Saturday. Make the drive down there and watch the girls in person, right?
Yeah, and plenty of places plenty of great restaurants to stop at, and a couple places to entertain yourself. A golf simulator. I'm just guessing those things are down there, but. Stop on down. It's a nice, easy trip. It only takes about 45 minutes down Highway 26. Pretty easy.
Potluck at certain one of our favorite Beaver Dam Unified School District employees' house before the game. How about that?
I don't know if I go that far, but I can recommend some places.
I'll bring the wings. So girls basketball, again, look forward to seeing them make a push as well. Boys basketball, Tim Ladderin really makes an effort to schedule tough non-conference opponents. So they went to West Appear. They've had some tough non-conference games. A couple people backed out. They had Oshkosh North last night with Xavier Mitchell, who's going to be in the NBA in 2 years. They took one on the chin. But give them credit. These kind of games like last night will just battle toughen them as we head towards the postseason.
Yeah, it's all about development, and they have a nice team this year.
Yeah.
This is not at all about, they're really struggling against tough competition and woe was us. No, they are playing tough competition this year. And they're getting battle tested, like you said, and they historically do a very nice job getting their kids ready at the end of the year. There were games at the end of last year that I don't know if a lot of teams or a lot of people had us winning that we went out and won and competed in. And so again, I have a lot of faith in the staff. Coach Ladrin did make a decision to schedule a very tough non-conference to really battle test this team. It's a young team, and I think that's going to prove beneficial this year and also next. But you look at the postseason with as many guys on this roster that can score, as many guys off the bench that can score. This is a dangerous team. So where they maybe lack a little bit in size, they certainly make up for in shooting, especially from beyond the arc. And I guess I think this team is going to be a really dangerous team late in the postseason.
And they will host the Fighting Fort Atkinson squad on, I almost said the Fighting Ryan Gerbers, but I didn't go that far. No, they'll face Fort Atkinson tomorrow night on Daily Dodge TV as well. Mike Tronson,
and you look at
the call. Yes.
Well, I was going to say, you look at their upcoming schedule, it is not a cakewalk.
Oh.
So they've got Fort Atkinson, who beat them pretty decisively down in Fort. I was at that game. If you talk to Coach, he'd admit they didn't play their best game. I would also say that Fort hit every shot they threw up in the air. It was incredible. So that's a big get right game. And then they follow that game up with a rivalry on the road at Watertown, which we know that game is always hotly contested. And then they have Milton on the schedule. They have Wanakee on the schedule. They have DeForest, and then that big looming game with Oregon at the very end. So there's a lot of big matchups coming for the squad. We're going to learn a lot about how this team is going to go forward into the postseason based on how they go the next couple of weeks.
Ryan, on Friday night, the Beaver Dam wrestling team still has a path to a conference championship. They host Wanakee. You and Wally Lukashinsky will be on the call on Daily Dodge TV along with Aiden Voigt out there. Tim Winker's squad to the boys' side for wrestling, they're still in it. They're looking for a strong finish as well.
Yeah, hasn't been a season that maybe they had drawn up in November, but any coach that coaches in the winter knows the plans you have in November aren't always there still in February. They still have an opportunity to win a conference title. I know that was their goal last year, and they lost to this Wanakee team by a point last year. So they're going to have another opportunity, but they have to get through Wanakee. They're going to have some holes in the lineup. So how they handle that, how they manipulate their roster around some of those forfeits that they're going to give to Wanakee will be huge. And then if they're able to knock off Wanakee, then they have to go to the Badger Conference tournament and place ahead of some schools. So Milton, who we lost to here, actually got beat by Monona Grove, which is a team we beat. So it shows, kind of the parity and the importance of matchups. So again, if Coach Winker's team can win against Wanakee, they have a great shot at bringing conference title home. The question will be, okay, you go into it, you figure wins with Femrite, and this is me not looking at Wanakee's lineup, by the way. You figure wins by Femrite. The Grove boys have had great seasons. You hope to get wins there. Vitense has been tough. Warden's been tough. So you have wins there. Can you find enough wins elsewhere? And guys have stepped up. So that's part of the beauty of wrestling is who is going to step up, who's the unsung hero that's going to win a duel. And I remember coaching, we were going on the road, and it came down to the very last match, and we threw a kid out that had never wrestled before. It was his first duel of his career, and he ends up getting a pin to win the duel for us. And it's just an example of you go into a duel, you have these plans, you have everything figured out, and then chaos ensues, and it comes down to which unsung hero, who you didn't have on your bingo sheet, who is going to step up to win that match. It's going to require some of the young guys on this roster to step up and win critical matches, or like we talked about on the broadcast, avoid giving up bonus points. So again, Coach Winker's team definitely has a shot at winning a conference title yet, but it's not going to be easy, and they're going to have to fight and scrap to get there.
How about the girls wrestling? I know we were getting late for their season as well, as they kind of weave their way through their 2024-25 campaign.
Yeah, so I was just talking to Coach Lauterbach about their upcoming schedule. So they have they'll be in the duel at Wanakee, and then they've got a tournament in Horicon, the Marsh Lady tournament that'll be coming up, and then their season basically comes down to the conference tournament. which will be on February 8th at DeForest. And then we're hosting the girls regional on February 14th, and that's a qualifier. Remember last year was the first year, or 2 years ago rather, was the first year that there was a qualifier for the girls to go to the state. So now the girls aren't competing with the boys in that tournament series. They have their own. So we're very excited to host the very first ever girls regional tournament here on February 14th. That's a Friday. And then we'll host the boys regional the next day on the 15th, which is also the same day we're playing host to the Swans, who host their synchro event over at the Family Center. So we've got a busy day coming up on February 15th.
Good to see you putting on a pair of figure skates, Ryan, and getting out there.
Yeah, you know what? It could happen. Absolutely. Anything's possible.
We'll do a duet at some point. No, but the Swan City skaters are great. There's a lot of kids, and we'll talk, we have a student athlete from Beaver Dam High School going to France here this weekend, actually, I think it is, and competing. So, it's figure skating's, it's growing and it's healthy here in Beaver Dam.
It's not a WI sanctioned event.
Nope.
Sport, so that's why we don't offer that here. But certainly there's a rich tradition of figure skating here in town. And just keep in mind, if anyone's like, well, geez, why would figure skating be in Beaver Dam? Well, first of all, there aren't a lot of communities like Beaver Dam that have their own ice rink. Mm-hmm. Most of the time you have to go to a much larger community. So the Beaver Dam community in general has really supported the ice sports, both hockey and figure skating. And they're a big part of the vitality of that arena over there. So we're very happy to have them as a partner. And I believe, talking to Alyssa Stevens, they have 66 teams coming from across the country to that event on the 15th. So it's going to be a busy day. So on the 15th, you can mark it on your calendar. If you're not busy, you can go over and watch the Swan skate, or you can come over to the regional tournament. Plenty of things to do. If you're not going to watch either, I'd avoid this part of town.
Yeah, but just talk about it, because parking's going to be at a premium. But I wonder if people should start parking cars on their lawns out on Gould. Think that would work? Like Packer
right,
games?
just like Badger games. And I think if you have a brat fry and offer some brats up, maybe you can make some cash. I don't know.
But it's one of those things too. You talk about having the field house, being able to host this event. The ice rink across the street. Think of all the people that come to the town and spend their money. Some of them probably spending the night and really diving into the economy of Beaver Dam by being able to host events like that.
So it's been a priority of mine personally to host as much as we possibly can. Simply as a coach, I like to do it, but I think with the facilities we have and what the community's been so very generous in providing us, we have a duty to host. So we hosted the girls cross country conference tournament this year. We're going to be hosting both regional for wrestling, girls and boys. We've got a girls and boys sectional semifinal basketball game here. We're going to be hosting the girls basketball sectional final here on March 8th. We're going to be hosting the track and field regional on May 27th. And then Old Hickory plays host to the boys golf sectional on June 4th. So we try to host as much. It does bring people into the community. We have a great place because we're right on that 151 corridor there, conveniently between Fond du Lac and Madison. So, it's a place that people like to come to, and then we certainly have the facilities to be able to host it.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing, especially if it's like an all-day event type of thing. Usually, as the buses get ready to pull out, not only are the families, having to eat or spend some money between things, but the buses usually stop at some sort of a restaurant, or you have something delivered to the bus as you leave, and that's money that's pumped right back into the economy.
Absolutely. Again, we're very fortunate to have the facilities we have, and what the community has been very generous in providing for us. So we want to make sure we give back, and this is one way we can do that.
Ryan, as we hit on, I know we're kind of in a tweener section right now for the arts when it comes to both theater and voice, vocal, and band and such, but there are some events coming up as well on the activity side that people should be aware of.
Yeah, so on Monday, February 3rd, we're going to be hosting Choral Fest, which is a pretty big event for our vocal music singers. We are still looking at rescheduling Parade of Bands. I've been working with our music staff on that. We're looking at a spring date to try to get back in the field house. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the music department's running their mattress fundraiser again. February 22nd, that'll be here at the high school. Boys basketball will be up in Oshkosh that day, so the field house is wide open. So yeah, they'll be selling mattresses like they did last year. I didn't know mattress sales were a thing until Mr. Galitz brought it up and asked if he could do it, and it was a success for them. And then I found out other communities were doing the same thing. So if you're looking for a new mattress for your house, circle February 22nd on the schedule, because you'll have an opportunity to come down to the high school and take a look at some.
All right, you'll have to get me some contact information, Ryan, on that. Maybe we can get somebody on to explore more. I'm intrigued by that. No, because that's a great idea, because it's something that everybody needs, and they can support a great cause. And I want to learn more, so we'll talk off the air a little bit, and I can see who I can get on the morning show on WBEV and kind of break down how the mattress fundraiser goes. So I appreciate that.
Sure. And then, like the spring play will be coming up right around the corner. We have another blood drive here at the high school, March 12th. So a lot of big events for the community to come in and see something other than just athletics.
Ryan, how do people find information about anything going on at Beaver Dam High School? What's the best way to do it?
Well, you can go to badgerconference.org and click on Beaver Dam High School on the right-hand side. You can always go to the high school website and click on activities and athletics, and that'll take you to the new website that we have. Or you could just give myself or Austin Keach a call, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, Ryan Gerber, Director of Athletics and Activities at Beaver Dam High School. Appreciate all you do and the hard work you put in, and I guess we'll chat next week.
We'll see you then.
This is Inside Beaver Dam High School Athletics and Activities on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.